Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, one of the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. With me today is Josh Mansfield, a teacher with LSAT Demon. Josh, we've got something here from, looks like Reddit, r/bar exam. You want to read it?
Yeah, I found this on Reddit.
Okay.
And this is about accommodations. And I know we've been talking a lot about accommodations, and just recently you and Ben talked about the 2-word accommodation approval.
This is a very powerful, very important PSA here that we're about to give.
Yes. So here it is. New York State Bar Exam. Hi, I appealed my decision for the New York State Bar testing accommodations, and the decision was denied. I am not quite sure how, when I had given ample documentation that took me a long time to gather. How is the fact that I had testing accommodations in law school quite simply not enough? I'm literally shocked. Please, some advice.
Don't go to law school expecting that you're going to get accommodations on your state bar, because state bar accommodations are notoriously a lot harder to get than accommodations in undergrad and on the LSAT.
Yeah. It feels like it's a closing, like it feels like a funnel, right? Like the LSAT at this point feels like they just approve any accommodations. And there is not, and it's not difficult to get those accommodations. I have the presumption that law schools are a little bit harder, but doesn't seem like much at this point. But the bar exam, we hear multiple times from people that the bar exam is much harder to get those accommodations for.
Yeah.
We've talked about, what's the downside? Here it is. You've spent years studying for the LSAT, years studying for law school with all the time you ever need. And then to get your license to practice, they say, sorry, you have to demonstrate competency on this exam. And it's going to take a significantly higher standard to get accommodations for it. And that's
there you go. I mean, that's the PSA. You might have gotten accommodations your entire life. And if that's the case, you definitely will get accommodations on the LSAT. I mean, they roll right over. It's actually automatic, or not automatic. You have to apply for it. But if you got accommodations on the SAT, for example, if you send in that documentation, LSAT just automatically grants you for the LSAT.
I have yet to hear of students who, some got denied on their first round.
Yep.
But when they send in an appeal, I have yet to hear of a student who got denied on appeal.
Agreed. Yeah.
I have not heard one.
Well, and we've seen crazy reports of where, like, the doctor wrote severe anxiety.
Yeah. That's the one you covered in Thinking LSAT a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Well, apparently that ain't working for the New York State Bar.
Yeah. And I bet it's not just New York either. Like,
I'm sure it's not.
Yeah, this is
because that's where the state bar is like, okay, this is the final barrier. And they see themselves as doing an important, like, consumer protection function. And so they're going to try to keep you out of legal practice if you can't demonstrate competency on their exam. They believe in their bar exam. I mean, there are states that don't even have a bar exam at all, like Wisconsin. Go to law school in Wisconsin, you just automatically, graduate in good standing. Cool, you can take the bar.
Yep.
Or you're now qualified. Like, I don't even think you have to do anything. Apply for probably character and fitness. All that stuff.
Sure. But you're right that you don't have to take a bar exam. Yes.
You're just a barred attorney. Boom.
Correct.
Bar privilege, they call that. But in your state, they might have a bar exam. They probably do. Most states do. And if they do, if you're an accommodated student, or if you think that, like, oh, that's my shortcut here, I'll just go get LSAT accommodations because they're easy. Yeah, okay. Just be careful what you wish for, because if you're struggling for the LSAT on the LSAT without accommodations, you might be, you might need those same accommodations in law school. You still might struggle, by the way, because law school is a different exercise from what the LSAT is. But no, apparently we've got people now making it all the way through and then finding out, oops, I am not going to get that same accommodation on the bar exam. Yeah. Sorry.
There's our PSA. This is our public service.
I mean, honestly, it's the schools. To me, it's the schools bad, because I think they know that they are admitting too many people who are not going to be able to pass their state bar. And you can just look at bar passage rates to figure out which schools are doing it. And I mean, it's like, because the schools are accredited by the American Bar Association, it just kind of seems like if the school is good enough, then maybe if you graduate, you shouldn't even have a bar exam. But if you're not going to do that, then it seems like there should be some other like incentive, because if the schools just literally don't even give a shit whether you pass the bar or not, because I mean, like this person isn't going to get a refund.
No, no,
You know,
no.
I think that the schools maybe should be made to refund people who don't pass the bar.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Oh,
that were the
well,
case, then they would have to be a lot more careful about who they admit to their school.
and to your point, Nate, though, you say, if it's they're ABA accredited, why doesn't just if you graduate from ABA accredited school, why do you need to pass a bar? And it's
That's the
because,
argument for bar privilege, and we have been talking about it now for 10 years on these podcasts.
well, the reason why is because I think the bar knows how bad some of these schools are.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They don't want to accredit some of these schools, or at least allow them just directly to pass. But they're going to let the schools collect all the money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the shameful part. Is
It
that
is.
it's like, why are you on the one hand even allowing these schools to be accredited if you then feel that you also need to give them this bar exam? And then
Right.
like they use the bar exam results, and if you have too many people failing the bar for too long of a time, then they put you on probation, and then, almost never actually take away your accreditation. But it's like, oh, you're in the naughty corner now. And meanwhile, the school's just like, yeah, okay, fine. They just keep admitting students and just keep raking tuition, and nobody's ever getting their money back. Yeah. Anyway,
It's yeah.
tread carefully.
The last thing I'll add is like it's it's interesting. Like when you have a school that starts to brag about their bar passage rate, that's when you should be wary, because that's like a big selling point, because honestly I think that like the top schools, they don't have to brag about it because no one, they don't talk about the bar. It's just presumed, like you go to a top 30, 40, well, even law school 50, like you're just going to pass the bar.
Yeah.
Right?
If you try.
If you try. Yeah, if you try, you're going to pass the bar.
And you might fail on your first attempt because you didn't
Sure.
really try, because you thought you were hot shit. Then you had to like actually take it more seriously the second time. But yeah, schools in the top, whatever, 30, 40, 50, they don't really have they don't really have like actual bar passage problems.
No.
But schools that are ranked 150th, if your school has a median LSAT of 151 or something, yeah, those are, you're going to have a bar passage problem.
You are. And that you should be wary of that when you're choosing a law school.
Yeah. And by the way, last note, your school doesn't actually do a lot to prepare you or not prepare you for the bar. This is only selection bias we're talking about here. So if you got a 165 and you could have gotten into those top 30, top 40 schools, if you decide to go down to a top 60, 70, 80 or below for the money, I'm not worried about you failing the bar either.
Right.
But just know that many of your colleagues are going to fail the bar. But that, it doesn't apply to you if you're there on a full ride. And they're giving full ride scholarships to people who they know are going to productively practice law.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.